You all notice this talk right now around probably 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. There was this discussion around, yeah, we're at war. We're in an unjustified war, a war that we were pulled into because your president willingly went into this war because he was dog walked by the prime minister of Israel to go into this war, right? Now there is this discussion around we are shooting out all of these ballistic missiles and all these weapons of war and all these little cannon fires and all this other BS that takes place in war. We are using up all of our strategic weaponry, and we don't know that we can get it reproduced fast enough without without using the Defense Production Act to do so, like taking over industries and telling them, no, you must produce weapons of war for us and do it quickly and all that kind of stuff. Well, this is why. And I don't know why we haven't really been talking about this a whole lot. I don't ever recall. It probably was in the news, but we can't trust the news today, and or we cannot trust the not independent media, the mass produced news enough to really be able to say that we adequately heard about this to understand what the problem was. This would be the reason why. Well, let's talk about China and what China is doing. China has really pushed out its dominance in the world as being the critical producer of rare earth minerals, and they are really putting themselves out there as, yeah, you want these minerals, you're gonna have to come through us. You're gonna have to talk to us. So we know about a year ago that Trump put all these tariffs on China, right? Well, shortly after that, this is what China did. China controls roughly, and I'm going to be doing some reading because I want to make sure that we're right about this. China controls roughly 60% of the world's rare earth mining minerals and about 90% of global rare earth processing capacity. Given that, China escalated sharply in 2025 when it imposed export restrictions on several critical rare earth elements, including the ones that I'm going to list here, because I'm not saying all of these, and other advanced defense and technological manufacturing minerals. Beijing framed the move as a response to U.S. tariffs and chip exports controls targeting Chinese companies. So, getting back to, you remember, maybe about a week or two ago, there was this whole conversation around America's running out of its weaponry, and they can't produce it fast enough because they don't have the rare earth minerals needed to do so. And they can't produce the magnets that are needed to go into the technology that is needed around those defense weapons. Because the magnets need the minerals to build the magnet to go into the you get it. Yeah. The restrictions hit American defense contractors and semiconductor manufacturers particularly hard, since the U.S. has relied heavily on Chinese supply chains for these inputs for decades. It's because America outsourced all of its work to place all of its technology, work, thinking processes, brain power process. It just mined all of that out. It mined all of that out to other countries. And so now, not only do they not have the rare earth minerals needed, they don't know how to do the shit that needs to be done to put into the technology. The U.S. has pushed back on multiple fronts. The Pentagon has accelerated funding for domestic rare earth mining and processing projects. The Biden and Trump administrations both targeted rare earth independence as a national security priority. And Congress passed legislation to fund domestic production and strengthen supply chains with allied nations like Australia, Canada, and Japan. But get this. Why is this important a whole year later? Because this happened in 2025. Why is this important now? It's important now because what China has done. Remember, I said at the beginning of this, China is poking its chest out and flaring its peacock feathers, telling the rest of the world that we own this shit. And if you're going to deal with anybody, you're going to deal with us. You know what China has done? China has put restrictions on these countries, especially Japan. Telling them, Japan, Germany, I didn't mention Germany. Germany was in Australia, Canada, Japan. Germany is another big one that China has said, no. No, we're putting restrictions on the selling to you. We must know what we're selling to you for. What are you going to use it for? We are making sure that you are not going to turn around and sell those products to the Americans. And if you do so, you will not get another rare earth mineral from us. That's what China's saying. Yeah, that's what China's saying. China told Japan, you can sell to the Americans if you want to. All them cars y'all trying to build and all them phones and iPhones and G phones and U phones and Android phones, you'll never sell another one of those. Not with the minerals from this country. Yeah. China is really strutting its stuff. It's really, really strutting its stuff. And the only thing the Americans can do, which they cannot do fast enough, is say, well, we'll look for those minerals in our own country. And according to a couple of articles that I've read, that's about 3 or 4 year process. To even find them, but not only to even find them, but to find them and refine them so they can be used in the market. I think I'd mentioned this already once, but the deeper issue comes down to decades of offshoring. American companies chased cheaper processing costs abroad, and China invested aggressively in building dominance across the entire supply chain. Yes, please, yes, come here, come to us, give us the monies, and you know what we're going to do? We are going to invest in the technology, the people, the brain power, how to do it, and guess what we're not going to do? We ain't going to tell none of y'all asses how to do it. Y'all think y'all live in the greatest country in the world. Rebuilding that capacity domestically takes years and significant capital. China understands this timeline, which gives it meaningful short-term leverage, even as the U.S. works towards long-term self-sufficiency. It's going to take years. And we going off and getting ourselves caught up in wars because Bibi told us that we need to be in this war. And God forbid somebody attack America. What weapons they gonna use? God forbid America decide not only are we going to attack Iran, but now we're gonna go and try and steal Greenland. We're gonna try and take Cuba. We're gonna take we're gonna try and take Cuba. We're gonna try and take Panama. Y'all got all the weapons for that? Lastly, the fight sits at the center of the U.S. Broader U.S. China tech and trade war, and rare earth access will shape which country leads the AI war, clean energy, and next generation defense for the next generation. Mm. Y'all great yet? Y'all doing the damn thing yet? Yeah, didn't think so.